Have you ever looked at the clock and thought, oh crap, not because class was going badly, but because class is going too fast? You planned for the full period. You built the activity, you prepared the packet, you were so proud of it. And then students finish and you still have 5, 10, maybe even 30 minutes left. And if phones aren't allowed, that moment gets even louder because now it's not just what do we do next? It's how do I occupy this room full of teenagers when I have no idea what we should do next and I can't just pull something out of thin air. If you've been there, today is for you. This bell-to-bell engagement episode is for a secondary classroom teacher who wants something low-lift, repeatable, and realistic even when you finish early. Welcome to the Secondary Teacher Podcast, the podcast for middle and high school teachers juggling multiple preps to get the strategies to reduce overwhelm so that you don't have to choose between being an effective teacher and prioritizing important relationships. I'm your host, Khristen Massic, a 10-year high school engineering teacher, former middle school assistant principal, and teacher coach. Every week, we will discuss strategies, systems, and time-saving tips to help you not only survive but thrive as a multiple prep teacher. My first year of teaching, I had a term class, so just a term, not even an entire semester, called Careers. It was part of the driver's ed setup, so sophomores took the class because they needed it, not because they were excited about it. And these were the youngest students at the school since freshmen were still at our junior highs. And I'm just going to say it. It was one of the hardest classes for me to teach, not because the topic was impossible, but because it wasn't in my comfort zone. It wasn't drafting, it wasn't design, it wasn't engineering, it was careers. And I really wanted to make it good. So I created this activity. Honestly, I can't remember the exact details now, but I remember the process. I made some kind of multi-day packet or unit. I spent days putting it together, planning period time, after school time, nighttime, and I walked in that class on the block schedule, which was about 85-ish minutes, thinking this is going to be amazing. This will take forever. I am covered. I handed it out. The students start working. They're engaged. They're interacting with it. It's going well. And then I start walking around the room and I realize something very quickly. They are moving through it way faster than I planned. Like way faster. This thing I thought would be 3 days, it was going to be done in less than one class period, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. And I still had 40 minutes left. And I remember this sinking feeling because suddenly I'm not proud anymore. I'm panicking because I don't have anything ready. And after class, I talked to my mentor, my assigned mentor who taught photography, which was actually a plus since all the school's new teacher mentors were English teachers who didn't have to teach a lot of preps. And she said something like, "Oh, you'll build up a box of tricks you can pull from." And I remember thinking, I do not have a box of tricks. I didn't have it that year. And honestly, I didn't have it for years, not because I didn't want it, but because I didn't have the margin to build one. And part of the reason it kept happening was this. As a newer teacher, I wasn't great at estimating time, especially the difference between me talking versus students doing. When I was leading, I could pace it. When students were working, time got unpredictable. So I'd end up in that exact moment, the clock is ticking, and I'm trying to invent something that won't derail the room. And if you're listening and thinking, yep, that's me, I want you to know this isn't a personal flaw, it's a system gap. What I want you to know is bell-to-bell engagement doesn't require more planning. It requires repeatable routines you can run when time surprises you. So here is the first strategy. Define done so it doesn't turn into drift. One of the simplest ways to protect the end of class is to refine what done means. Because if done means I finished the worksheet, students will immediately drift. But if done means I finished the task and I completed the next step, then early finishers stop becoming a classroom management emergency. So here's a low-lift teacher move. Consider a consistent done that leads into the next routine. It can be as simple as a board section that always says, If you finish early, 1, quality check, 2, reflection explanation, 3, extension choice, and pick one. The power of this isn't the content, it's predictability. Because once students know the routine, you don't have to invent the next thing every time. So on to the next strategy. Build your box of tricks as a tiny routine bank. Let's talk about that mentor advice because it was true, but not immediately helpful when you're a new teacher. So here's the version I wish someone had given me. You don't need a big box of tricks. You need 5. 5 go-to routines that require little or no prep, work in almost any class, don't rely on phones, and keep students learning or contributing. Here are the 5 that I'd wished I'd had. 1. The quality check loop takes about 2 to 6 minutes. Students use a checklist to verify they met requirements. Did I complete every part? Did I label, name, submit correctly? Did I match the example criteria? What's one improvement I can make? This turns done into better work without you doing extra grading. Number 2, the explain your thinking reflection takes about 3 to 8 minutes. So students write what they did, what decision they made, what they changed and why, what they would do differently next time. This is a low lift and it makes early finishing productive. 3, peer check. Structured, not chaotic. So it takes about 5 to 10 minutes. Students use a simple protocol. 1, meets criteria note. 1, next step suggestion, and they verify submission requirements. This keeps movement purposeful instead of social drift. The 4th one is a micro extension challenge. Could be anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes. 1 extra constraint or twist, so they could improve their accuracy, add a feature, refine the explanation, compare 2 options, optimize 1 part. And the key is it must be short and optional, but clear. And then the 5th one is 2-minute reset, which is great for labs. So early finishers reset their space. They put their materials away, the station's cleared, they make sure any of the shared areas are restored. This protects the next class period and reduces your end of day cleanup. And here's the secret. If you teach these as routines, students stop asking, what do I do now? Because they already know. That's the box of tricks you can actually maintain. The next strategy is use an in-the-moment plan when time surprises you. Now, let's talk about the reality we're all facing. More schools are limiting phone use during class, and honestly, I get it. It can lead to better conversation, better focus, more real learning, and it really started picking up this school year, especially after the publication of The Anxious Generation and some of the laws being passed around phone policies in schools. But it also means we need better teacher support for those unexpected minutes. Here's what I eventually learned. I needed a way to make decisions fast when class went sideways. For me, that would have looked like having a simple printed toolbox list of go-to routines and a quick way to generate an option that matched what we were already doing. And you can do this without making it complicated. If you want the simplest version, it's this. What are we working on today? How many minutes are left? Which of my 5 routines fits best? That's it. And if you're someone who likes using AI as a support tool, the most helpful use case I found is not make me a whole new lesson. It's take what I'm already teaching and give me a 10-minute add-on using one of my go-to routines. I actually created a tool for this called the Build-A-Bell Buddy. It's designed to help you generate those quick extensions that match what you're already doing so you're not scrambling, buying something, printing something, or pulling random internet worksheets that don't fit. You're just extending what you already have on purpose. If you've ever had that they finished too early moment and felt embarrassed or unprepared, I want you to release that. You didn't fail. You hit a normal teaching reality. Predicting time is hard, and the solution isn't becoming magically better at estimating. The solution is building a small routine bank you can reuse. Because the goal is not to fill every minute with something flashy. The goal is to keep the room steady without creating extra work for you at home. So speaking of home, you do have a little bit of homework. This week, build your toolbox of tricks the smallest possible way. Choose 5 finish early routines you can reuse, write them on one page, teach them as routines. And the next time you look at the clock and think, uh-oh, and now what? You'll already know what to do. Not because you planned more, because you built a system that protects you. Bell-to-bell engagement doesn't mean you have to be on every single minute. It means you have routines that keep the room running even when time surprises you. And that's sustainable. That's smart. And that's how you protect your energy instead of constantly scrambling. Until next week, take care of yourself and keep building systems that work for you. If today's episode was helpful for you, it could be for others. So make sure you share it with your colleagues and tag me on Instagram at Khristen Massic, KHRISTENMASSIC. Until next week.